Hi, this is Ian Lewis from Carnifex, and you're listening to Jet on Metal Messiah Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Tonight we have as our guest Scott Ian Lewis of the metal band Carnifex. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Scott, tell us a little bit about the band, who's in it, and where you're all from.
Well, we're from San Diego originally. Now I guess we're a little more scattered out. A couple guys ended up out in the Phoenix area. But when we all started, we were from San Diego. We were just 5 friends pretty much. And we really haven't had any member changes. It's just been the 5 of us chugging on for about 15 years now.
And now the band, like you said, has been around for almost 15 years. So how would you say that you guys have progressed as a band, and how have you progressed as a vocalist over the years, Scott?
I think the biggest thing with Carnifex is that we're all self-taught musicians. No one went to school for music or has a degree in music or anything like that. So we did our first record when 2005. So we were 21 years old, and I think if you look back at that album, I think it was a real honest expression of who we were, but we also really weren't that capable of articulating ourselves musically, just limited by our lack of experience. But now, 7 records later and almost 15 years later, we've grown a lot. We've learned a lot as musicians, as songwriters, and as performers. I think the evolution is pretty clear from where we started to where the record's at now.
And now you mentioned in a previous interview about expanding the metal scene and keeping it fresh. What might be some ideas to spark something like that?
Well, for us, it was about working with other musicians, so collaboration, which in the metal scene we don't see all that often, unfortunately. So we wanted to have that on this record, and so we reached out to Lisa and we reached out to Angel and had them on the record. And I think it was great just to be able to collaborate with other really talented artists that are in the same scene, but it's kind of genre adjacent to us. It's not exactly like us, which is really what adds that unique touch to it, is working with an artist that has similarities, but really they have their own sound as well. So I think when you put them together, you get fun new stuff and you get the next evolution of the scene.
So today we're here to talk about the new album, World War X. So how did you guys approach making this album musically as well as lyrically, Scott?
Musically, it was a very similar approach to our songwriting, but the biggest change was the amount of time that we gave ourselves. So we took 3 years in between our last album and this album, which is the most time we've ever taken by almost an extra year. So I think that 3 years was super beneficial. So what it enabled us to do was, over our touring cycle on the last album, we were able to just generate and accumulate all this material. And then when that cycle ended, we were able to spend, another 6 months just focusing on arrangement and really just song crafting. And I think that really shows on the album, and in that, it was our process and the way we approach songwriting, as we had on the previous albums, but elevated in that we had the extra time to really say, well, hey, let's try this, not just, let's do what we know we can do within the time we have. We were able to experiment a little more, and I think that shows on the album in how we were able to expand that scope and scale.
And now, how did you approach it lyrically?
The whole theme of the album was taking all your internal fears and conflict, and rather than internalizing it and sort of facing it in this hidden, invisible war, I wanted to put it out there and literally confront the fears head on through the theme of war, being on the front line of fighting for whatever aspect of your own individual humanity you're trying to keep onto. So it's escaping depression or fear or anxiety or whatever it is that your personal struggle is. And so my approach was try to do what I've done on the previous albums and take a very personal, connected approach to the lyrics, but also match what we wanted to do with the music, which is open up that scale and give it a little more scope. And so by framing it through a war and that kind of epic struggle, I was able to combine both, where it's, I think, a very personal record, but also there's a lot of kind of storytelling in there that is maybe a little more of an adventure than the previous albums.
And you'd mentioned that you have some guests on the album as well, so tell us a little bit about them and why you chose them to come on this album.
Yeah, so we worked with Elisa and Angel, and why we worked with them, for us, it was we were trying to identify someone in the metal scene that was doing something that we thought was really on the forefront of the genre, that was bringing something really new and exciting to the genre, which is Elisa and what she's doing with Arch Enemy. And we just wanted to be able to collaborate with people that are doing fun and exciting stuff. And so when we were doing the pre-production for the album back in September, we'd sent her the demo, and she really responded to the material and had a lot of great ideas of her own. So it was just this great back and forth of being able to really build that song up from the idea that it was at before we brought it to her, and then what you heard and what you saw with the music video. And then with Angel, it was a little bit different. He's a friend of Jason Sukoff, the producer that we did the album with, and he was actually FaceTiming us while we were tracking that song, and he sort of said, "Well, hey, why we got you?" And one thing led to another, and yeah, he ended up writing a really great solo for the song.
And you also had mentioned videos too, and I watched it and I loved it. Now, I've had Elisa on the show with both of her bands, and I have just watched her mature through this whole metal scene and her whole crazy metal journey that she's been through. And your video that you made of the song that she's on is so awesome. I mean, out in the desert, and you had a nice windy day and all the veils blowing all over the place. So tell us a little bit about shooting the video.
Yeah, so the video was pretty epic. It was basically a kind of a short film production. We shot 4 hours southeast of Los Angeles, so it's not a whole lot out there. We're kind of out there by Death Valley. Mm-hmm. And we had to bring basically everything. We had a full crew, a full camera crew. We had a full, grip crew. We had the band. We had, the makeup trailers there. We had a lot of people there and a lot of gear to get out there. And on the way, there was a sandstorm.
Oh, God.
We get the question, what, do you guys have like a big fan out there? Like, no, that was the backside of a sandstorm, actually. About 3 hours earlier, it was like 40-mile-an-hour winds, and what it did was it covered the road in sand, and there's only one road in. And so what we had to do was we had to get this 4x4. Thankfully, our guitarist has this, basically has a monster truck, so he has this 4x4, and we literally had to, get Elisa in the truck because the trailer couldn't make it past, and she had a 4x4 over this dune up to the shooting location. So it was pretty wild, and everybody really had to put in 110%. There was no time or room for rock stars, and everyone was just there to work, And so we got all these great shots, and, the video just looks like everything was just in this perfectly controlled, environment. But really everyone worked real hard to make that video happen. It was really fun.
It's beautiful. I mean, and hearing the story makes the video even a little more special now, Scott. I mean, really, it couldn't have asked for a better time to be in a sandstorm. I mean, it just made, the effects, they're all natural, like Elisa.
Yeah, it really was great.
So, Scott, tell us a little bit about the cover art and how it depicts the album context.
That was, again, kind of the result of just a great collaboration with Blake Armstrong, the artist who was recommended to me through our label, Nuclear Blast. They had done a cover with him for a compilation album they did, and so I had struck up a conversation with him and sent him some of the reference pieces I was looking at, which was surrealist and nihilist artwork from early 1900s kind of World War One era. And so I'd sent him a lot of those references, trying to capture those themes and some of the colors that are in those paintings. And we just went back and forth on it. What about if I add in this? Yeah, and add this in here. And it was really just kind of trading ideas until you have the cover there. And we just wanted to establish the allegory of the album, which is, you're really seeing yourself broken open and everything on the inside coming out and have to face it. And we really just put that right there front and center on the album, and then all the other kind of scene, the world behind it. And I really love what he did with it. It was awesome.
It is. And now, Scott, you guys are about to embark on the Summer Slaughter Tour. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, this is the third year that we've been a part of it. So being asked to be a headliner this year was really something that was exciting for us. We really believe in this album, so to be able to go out and also have a great tour to support it on, it was just a very fortunate for us to be able to take this tour to the fans and be able to have our show and the new album and everything. So it was just a kind of a great teaming up between Carnifex and Summer Slaughter, and the bill, I think, is really just going to make any fan happy. So yeah, it's definitely the show to go to this summer.
And how long does that run till? Do you know?
That's going to be July 18th to August 14th.
And then what do you guys got coming up after that?
We're going to take the fall off because we're really going to focus on our 15th anniversary headliner, which will be in March of 2020. So,
nice.
Yeah, that one we're really trying to really make like a theatrical show out of it and really bring something special. So we'll be taking the fall off to prepare for that.
Okay, well then we're going to be talking to you more about that when it cuts a little closer to the time.
Yeah, I hope so.
And Scott, if people want to learn more about the band, what's the best site to go to pick up merchandise, see what you have going on, that kind of thing?
Yeah, carnifexmetal.com is the band's website. If they want to pre-order the new album, they can pre-order it there. And we have, all the new merch and everything's right there.
All right, and there you guys go. Carnifex has a new album coming out soon off Nuclear Blaster Records called World War X. The band's about to embark on the Summer Slaughter Tour, and you can learn more about the band on their websites. And thank you so much for coming on the show, Scott, and good luck with the new album and the tour.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.